Pandora box. Many years of practice. No, just take an example. Now, why to take an example? Brandy is a billionaire. Just imagine if you are not. But I claim that you are a billionaire. So when you are a billionaire, are you a billionaire in my presence and or 24/7? Once you are a billionaire, so you are always there, right? With a lot of immobile assets, people see, appreciate, or envy, you still remain a billionaire, right? And I'm making the Prince things very simple. When we discovered our real self, you own real self. You are not your real self only in one session. You are always there. You are always there. Did you get it? Let me expand it a little more. What is the confusion? Am I confused that I am not real self the moment I listen to you do the practice? Everything is goody. But the moment I leave the practice, I do not remain real self. Compare it with being a billionaire. So when I am not my real self 24/7, it means there is a confusion. We say, no, I have been doing, how many years I have been doing yoga? 25 years, 30 years. And what is the result? Still the confusion. Still the confusion is there. Are you getting it? I'm simplifying it. So when there is a confusion that am I Girish or real self? There is no confusion when you are a billionaire. Once a billionaire, so you are always there, 24/7. Compare this with this thought. Am I Lara or real self? Am I David or real self? For all practical purposes, 24/7. Ask yourself, do you need to do practice? You don't need to do the practice because you are there. You're always there. See that? I have been doing the practice, learning and listening principles for so many years, and still I have a confusion. Are you getting it? Confusion. I still have a confusion. Oh, when I do the practice of meditation, you are a good teacher. Don't give me a certificate. Give a certificate to yourself that I am my real self all the time. So when you are not your real self all the time, then I should follow, continue to listen, continue to the practice, and that answers your specific question. Randy asked that should I follow the previous practice if I miss it, or should I follow the next one? Did you get it? I have studied. What I have studied? I have studied. I know that I am the real self. Clear? But still, the real self does not belong to me. What belongs to me? That I am the body, I am the mind, I am the conflict. Do you see that point? Huh? Do you see this? This is what our masters have been teaching. You pick up only one principle and you are there, done. You pick up one business only and become a billionaire, or you diversify. Next question comes that is also very important, what it means. What it means. See, the confusion continues the moment I have done the practice. I'm so good. I am liberated. I am like other masters. The moment I come out, return from the meditation, the mind enters into the same duality and conflict. Then what I have done, all my 20 years is a waste. But it is not a waste, then I should continue. And sometimes many people say, come on, I know many practices. I do kundalini meditation in the morning. I do mindfulness in the afternoon. In the evening, I practice your meditation. Many people say, I should continue doing it. Why should I interfere in their life? So, what is required? A clarity of understanding. What is understanding? I need a right knowledge. That is why I give a talk first in the first half before you go to the practice. Just think of it. Think of it. The person says Kundalini meditation in the morning, afternoon mindfulness, evening your meditation, night I did, the fourth meditation. Is it okay? Everything is okay. Why should I say that? After all, you are doing something. You are not going to a liquor bar. So that reference is okay. But will that help me to reach to the ultimate? What is my goal? Are you clear about your goal? No, but then why the Patanjali has been teaching so many methods? If he is teaching, I must know every method, but I should not realize even a single one. Right? Don't you have the information? What is the goal of meditation? 100% clear. It's an awakening to the real self. But then why the Patanjali is talking again and again? No, this is one practice, this is another, this is the third. Because we still live in confusion. Do you see? That is the reason the Patanjali or other masters are teaching. Are you getting an understanding? Patanjali is not a crazy guy who gave you hundreds of practices. Okay, there are hundreds of practices. Then you are confused which practice I should do. No, that is the ultimate confusion that I have done the practice. Now I know the real self. Do I live as a real self 24 by 7, or do I live as David, as Terry, as Lara, as Girish, as Stephen? Simple. So Patanjali knows the problem. It is not a confusion. This is why Patanjali says, did you not understand? No problem. Here is another way to understand. He is teaching the same thing. You'll be surprised. He is teaching the same thing in every sutra. There is nothing different. The ultimate goal is the same. Okay, you did not understand, so let me make you understand in a different way. Now see what happens with the confusion. Now, did you understand the confusion? That during the practice, in the practice, I am the real self. Out of the practice, I go back and become the same person again. That is the confusion, right? Now let this confusion linger on. What will happen? Your mind will say, hell with you, teacher, hell with the yoga. There is nothing in it. Who is responsible? Who is responsible for it? Do you see the understanding? I'm not saying there should be a blind belief and other things. No, no, no. No, nothing at all. Now see the other point, and that will help us. That keeps your mind in cheerfulness. I'm linking this to the same sutra. We have to talk about today compassion. You go to the store, you know all the articles and the items lying in the store, but you buy only for which you desire. Walmart claims they keep 1 million articles, but you buy only that you know and you have a desire. Clear? You don't buy the entire Walmart. Clear? If you have a desire for the real self, that will continue 24/7. Is it happening? And if it is happening, you are always cheerful. Why? Even if I don't realize I am real self. Sometime, oh, I like pasta. Now I have ordered the pasta. It triggers the pleasure in me. I don't know real self, but I have understood what is real self is. It's already within me. The mind is totally naturally focused on that goal. What is the goal? Real self. What is the real self? Pure consciousness, permanent happiness. Is there no reason to be cheerful? Look at it. This is the journey our masters have been speaking of. You all are seekers, so that's why I'm talking of these stuff. So that is why the master says, book says, and all master says, listening to the teacher again and again, he presents the same knowledge in a different perspective, and it helps you to remove that ignorance, that not knowing, followed by the practice that helps. I have fully answered your question, Randy. So we are understanding. If our understanding is not right, then we fall into confusion. Then what we say, I'm not cheerful, but I see the person outside is suffering. Oh, let me have a compassion. Come on. First, you have a compassion within you. Then you can have compassion for others. This is what yoga and the Eastern wisdom says. The mandatory requirement for the mind to have a different perception and experience 24/7. That means you are in the state of cheerfulness. What will happen? Friendliness is natural to you. Compassion is natural to you. Happiness is natural to you. Equanimity is natural to you. So when that is natural to you, what is going to happen? Can you imagine? Will your mind wander? Will you blame that, my mind is distracted? Will you claim that I am running in my life all the time, fully busy, exhausted, fatigued, duality, conflict? No. That is the state of the cheerfulness. So those who are suffering, mind is cheerful, and you live into that state of compassion, and that compassion expresses through the mind, then you are compassionate. One of my friend here also, I melt, my mind melts when I see people are suffering. I cannot say that you are suffering more than other people are suffering. Why? Because you don't recognize your real self. The greatest suffering in our life is that we don't recognize, we don't realize our real self. So I also say, yes, 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 you see that people are suffering in the world. So when you express like this, it is a subtle ego that is expressing compassion for others when you are devoid of that compassion inside. That will not help. Are you understanding that point? This is how the yoga helps you to understand. That is why we have these principles. That is why Yoga Sutra 195 sutras is because of this, because of clarity of understanding. Cultivating these qualities and their manifestation outside with object, with people, with things and time and place results in the state of meditation and quietness of the mind. I just want to add one thing more where you will understand. See, you are in the state of the cheerfulness, the compassion is within you. You look at a stone. That compassion in you perceives the God in the stone, in the idol. One option. Second option, oh, here is an ideal made up of white stone. So your ego starts giving an explanation of Shiva image, of Krishna image. Where you are? Nowhere. That is how you give attributes to your friend, your enemy, your relationship, your honey. So it is the part of the ego. You are already confused. Compassion is a mental quality, goes against the painful conditions, frustration, emotional upsets, because you as a seeker, you are in the state of the cheerfulness. You are a seeker because you know the real self. Because you know the real self, and the real self, one of the best quality is compassion. You are in compassion, and then you express the same compassion outside. I'm very sympathetic. I have a lot of sympathy for you. This comes under modern psychology. Modern psychology does not help you to succeed in meditation. You see, understanding, knowledge, when we perceive the thing as it is, we drop our ego, unwanted thoughts, we enter into the state of the cheerfulness. Now the people outside is suffering. That compassion expresses through the mind from the real self. Are you getting it? So from today, no more crying, Christina. But if you want to cry, cry with compassion. I also cry looking at the image of my master. That's a different crying. So the first step is to check the mind if it is cheerful, in events with the people, conditions, so that world does not enter into the mind. You see? So what Patanjali is guiding us, Patanjali is saying, here is another method to calm down the mind so that you can succeed in meditation. This is his goal. Do you remember the goal? That is the goal. So that is second step, to allow mind to have the right perception by discernment. Third step is to move by thought, speech, and action towards people, events, and the things in day-to-day life. And the fourth step is to make a choice if we can help others suffering or cultivate the feeling of well-being for them. That results into compassion. Do you remember the story of the Buddha? Huh? Did I tell you the mother and the Buddha? Now apply these and this understanding, you will discover, yes, compassion first in the state of cheerfulness of the mind. Huh? The mother is suffering because of the loss of the son. So mother did not, Buddha did not approach the mother, come on, let me hug you. This is very bad. I'm very sorry to hear. This comes from ego, subtle ego. Because I also need the same sympathy because I'm scared. So when I live with the real self in the state of the cheerfulness, you appreciate me, thank you. You don't appreciate me, thank you. I'm independent. Ego is always dependent on the things in the world outside. See the beauty of understanding. That is the power of compassion. Yes, there are many people, they say, oh, let us do loving meditation. Loving meditation. And my mind is attached to brandy. That loving meditation becomes attachment meditation. So first is insight. Now see why we are learning these principles. Ask yourself. Did Patanjali is crazy that you should express your compassion outside without having a compassion within? The goal of yoga is to self-discover the self, to be absorbed into meditation. So it means every sutra has to do first inside me, then outside. Be in compassion. Compassion in, Patanjali says, karuna, for those who are suffering. Suffering. The statement says that we should be compassionate to others all the time, even if we are suffering. What kind of a compassion is this? Then we become social activists, we become social worker. That is a specialized profession. But that has nothing to do with the meditation in the real self. Now see the most important point. The commentator explains that I move with compassion to others because I am aware they are suffering due to ignorance of their real nature. Did you get it? I am not aware of the real self. I am seeking something outside. There is a craving, and that craving is not met. That is why I am suffering. This is ignorance. So the Buddha moved with compassion, asking the mother, go to every house, find out if no one died, I will make your son alive. See, compassion of the Buddha and our compassion. I'm sorry to hear this demise of so and so. I'm sorry to hear that you suffered. I'm sorry. Why you should be sorry? The seeker in this way does not invite or attract any feeling of negativity in his mind. It results in the cheerfulness within. Did you get the feel of that compassion? When you are learning principles of yoga, stick to that. If you have a doubt, ask me. Don't switch on to the physics. Don't switch on to the modern psychology. They have their own principles. Don't mix them. If you mix them, the entire purpose will be defeated. Constantly, 24/7, you live into the state of the cheerfulness because of compassion, because of friendliness, because of happiness, and because of equanimity. 4 qualities. We have understood the friendliness, and then we have understood today the karuna. Karuna means the compassion. The last point is beautiful, most beautiful. Compassion melts the separation between the seeker and the world of people, things outside. The mind perceives that there is no difference. When there is no difference, that wave of compassion flows naturally. If I do the compassion because of ego, then I have a lot of reservations. The duality is there, the confusion is there, and the mind loses the state of the cheerfulness. Clear? Clear about compassion? Are you in compassion? No, you should think later. Let us start the practice.